aReNGee. All right, welcome everybody to round one. We've got Ron at the bottom of your screen. We've got aReNGee at the top. Just in time. Thank you, Cassandra, for the raid. Welcome everybody from Cassandra to the stream. Just in time to see some sweet Eternal action because it's time for round one.
Thank you so much, Cassandra, for all the raiders. Also, raiders, welcome to TNE. If this is your first time, this is going to be awesome. If this is not your first time, you should already know that this is going to be awesome.
Absolutely. All right, aReNGee hitting the board first. Let's fire out there with the Daru Lee. That's powerful 2-1 soldier.
Yep. For most intents and purposes, this is just pretty much a 2-1 for 1. You've got the 1 of Sanity Scorcher, I believe, and the 4 Felices, as well as the Young-Glow Houndmasters. But because you're not, you don't have any 1-drop soldiers, it's really hard to do the typical turn 1 Darley, turn 2 soldier into activate it. So for most intents and purposes, I do believe it's gonna end up being a 2-1 for 1 with some upside.
All right, and Ron is going to use a Defile to take that out of there. Oh, I'm sorry, everyone. That was a total mistake. Sorry about that. It is all fixed there. Mostly fixed. Sorry about that. Misclick on my part, so I'll get that fixed up in a sec. Gonna use that Defile to take care of that Daru Lee, but aReNGee following up with 2 other powerful units there.
Also, I see all my teammates hyping up in chat. This is the first time they will have seen me with face cam. So I'm sure that this is as amusing of an experience as it is for them as it is the rest of the chat right now.
And I'll try to get that scoreboard
Also,
aligned
Pokemon.
back up there.
Yeah, Pokemon mug. Go Pokemon. Very cute. Okay.
All right, Ron going to play out a stealth
brilliant.
unit, 2/3 Hidden Crusader to block the weight there.
Chiefs. Ooh, yes, Mid-Chief Salas is I haven't seen that card. It popped up in some number back in Old Expedition and in this Stone Scar aggro decks, but since then, I haven't seen it much around too much. Although it is not. It's okay here. At least once the short hopper gets frosted over, aReNGee will be able to apply a lot of damage here.
VicVig, thank you so much for the follow. We appreciate that. And this is so much damage coming through for aReNGee. We've got that Houndmaster going to trigger, get a 4/4. Lots coming through. Going to put Ron down to 15. But I guess if there's anything going for Ron, Ron's still at 15 and just got a 2/2 out of the deal. The question's going to be, can Ron stabilize here?
I don't think so. At least not particularly effectively. My reasoning for that is they do have some early 1-for-1 and that will help if they drew it in that spot exactly. It would help alleviate the pressure from the Houndmaster because they don't have any kinds of sweepers such as Cover from the Storm or Fall to Ruin in their deck. They're really not relying heavily on that spot removal to push. Yeah, in this position, aReNGee just has so many ways to keep generating 4/4s and just be able to accrue a lot of advantage that Ron can't necessarily fight particularly. Since the rest of the top end is pretty much just units, I don't think that there's too much that they can do here. Yep, sniping the Crystallize is nice, but you've still got a lot of board presence out of aReNGee's side that you can't really deal with particularly effectively. And drawing that 2 power here certainly isn't going to help.
Now, drawing an Auto Tread will help for aReNGee. That's a nice little 1-drop that scales up into the late game, and it's already a 4/4. As if the 1/1 Auto Tread wasn't enough of a pain to deal with. Now you got a 4/4 Auto Tread.
Yep. Even if the quote-unquote activated ability of the Auto Tread isn't particularly effective here against 2 health units, aReNGee is just going to jam and smash face and put Ron in a very, very bad position, particularly with open deck lists here. They know that Ron doesn't really have an out, and so can just extend their board very far without being punished for it.
Yeah, but that's just going to be it. aReNGee is going to take that out. Had a good draw, went pretty aggressive. Ron was on the back foot that entire time. Didn't seem like there was much that Ron could do there. But while we have a chance here, let's see if we can take a look at, switch it up and see if we can take a look at Ron's deck list here. This Menace mid-range deck. So, give us a second to pull that one up. All right, what are we looking at this Menace deck that Ron put together here?
So, I think this matchup is really going to rely on being able to stick a Molder, because Molder, for health is really, really tricky for aReNGee's deck list to deal with. As we saw, we've seen the 4 Flash Rise, seen the 4 Vicious Overgrowths, but if Ron can start duplicating the mucks and just gumming up the board, then aReNGee will be hard pressed to try and push through that. As we saw, we didn't see a lot of, say, aerial presence out of them. They're not packing Passionate Zone Hammers, they're not packing Cyber Skimmers, they're not packing any short hoppers. So all of aReNGee's aggression is going to be through on them. If Ron can get in a position where they can start spitting out Mortar Mucks, I think that will be very advantageous for them. Other than that, I do think aReNGee is probably favored in this matchup, mainly because if you stick a 4 or 5 cost unit against them, sorry, if you just end up playing a 4 or 5 cost unit and aReNGee is just simply able to answer that with a Permafrost, then you'll be down a lot in terms of resources and tempo. Like, I appreciate the Dianglo Mites in this position for perhaps like trying to pull off a longer game against control, but against the Skycrag aggro deck, I don't think that they will allow you to reach a position where you can comfortably fire off Dianglo Mites and Davia Azure Breakers. Because your whole game plan in this deck is to pick off any early aggression with cheap interaction, before following up with well-statted units in the mid game. As long as aReNGee has an answer for those units, I think that Ron is going to be on the back foot pretty much the entire time.
All right, just waiting for our players to get in here. Sorry about that, everybody. They're trying to get back into a game now. I think they're having a discussion about, I don't know, some sort of error getting into games, so we're just going to wait for them there. We got about, what's the count here, Stormguard? 24 players here tonight? Something like that.
I believe so, 24 players. Yeah, not as much as usually, but that hopefully means more people will be able to grace my eyeballs, so to speak, in the future match area. They'll be able to see a lot, like a greater variety of players. So it's always nice to get a future match.
Absolutely.
Just
all right. We don't have the I don't have the leaderboard graphic. Sorry about everybody, but I can read off the leaderboard. So coming in at number 1, remember we switched up the points, so you get 1 point for every match win now, and then we take your 6 best performances. So that's not going to matter until later in the season, but at the beginning of the season, it's going to be basically whatever points you get, however match wins you get is how many points you get. So in first place right now, we have the Overmaster with 9 points. So 2 events played, 9 points. Pretty well done. Also, one of those being a top 8. No surprise there. If you're going to get 9 points, you're going to have to do that. Followed up by Derek Davis and Croge. Those are your 2 winners as well. Derek Davis winning challenge number 1. Croge winning challenge number 2. Rounding up the top 10, you got Mail with 8. Ash Acer with 7. Arcade with 6. Alex Fiero 5, Jez 2718 5, Old Rich with 5, Avion with 5, and Spifferific with 5. Those are your top 11 players, but our players are good to go, so let's jump back into game 2 between aReNGee and wsgRon.
Ooh, I would not keep that hand out of wsgRon, especially knowing what aReNGee is. They really need to dig for a piece of early interaction here, and having a triplet I think it's got a triplet. Having a triplet of life drops in the form of the ambitious Mandavillas is certainly not where you want to be. Yep,
Right.
and they go for the Maw.
Toss that one back. This one better than
I
a 6. You
think-
got an exploit with 2 Moldermucks and then a Torgov. If you can hit power, is a powerful hand.
Yeah, I mean the exploit guarantees you a power. I think I would probably plunder the ambitious Mandavilla here. Just looking at the texture of their hand, they already have the shadow, which is fine. But because you want, like, I think that the Moldermark is going to be such a key card in the matchup that I would probably lean towards plundering the Mandavilla here. Although I can see going either way just for per reason. I could actually also see plundering the Torgov, actually. Yep, and that's what they go
That's
for.
what they're going to do.
Because,
Plunder the Torgov.
sorry, it took me a while. Yeah.
Don't worry, he's going to
because
take that.
I realized. Yeah.
Go
Sorry.
ahead. You're good.
No, I realized that they didn't have double primal, which is super crucial for their Davia. So, and they already had double shadow. So as long as they get some form of undepleted power to make sure that they have Moldermuck on turn 3, then it doesn't really matter. Well, it does matter. They got a second primal. My bad. It's the morning. I just woke up. Forgive me, chat.
That's all right. Evening my time, morning your time. No worries. All right, aReNGee going to play out a Rage Grafter here. D'Angelo might the draw for wsgRon, but they're going to start with a Nectar of Unlife. They're going to take out that Grafter, get that Decay. Not going to matter, but attack in with that Moldermuck. Let's make another Moldermuck. That's what oozes do best. A pair of 3/3s out for wsgRon. Release the draw for aReNGee. That's a pretty powerful card. This has been one of the best cards in Expedition so far that we've seen. Such a powerhouse. It has the tandem ability when exactly 2 units attack. They get +1/+1 and Overwhelm. And you get to loot, draw a card, and discard a card. So a lot in that little text box there on that 4/4. Another copy of Nectar Unlife was a pretty nice top deck for wsgRon. That's what Ron needed to help stabilize here. Took care of 2 units, and that's going to shut down the ability for Veliz to even trigger this turn, because not going to be able to attack in with 2 units if you only got 1.
Strange. Okay.
All right, Vicious Overgrowth, though, for aReNGee. That's going to take out one of those Moldermucks. And this time, with that second Veliz last turn, was able to trigger it. And those are going to become 6/6s, double triggers now, because both Velizes trigger because of that. So we're going to get 2 attacks here, get 2 loots, draw a couple more cards, and hit in for 12/1 damage.
Very nice. Yeah, as we've seen from the Throne opens, Veliz is a card that's been making waves even there. So the card is amazing, right? It's a great card for aggro mid-range decks that help like it helps you filter, it works with discard synergies, and it allows well-statted units to push in for even more damage without the fear of chump block. This Torgov is very good at stonewalling so far, but that Sanity Scorcher with a Mind Fire to exhaust all of their blockers is going to be quite potent and should be lethal if wsgRon doesn't see it coming. Ooh, that was probably not the correct move. I think, yeah, considering that wsgRon knows that the only 5-cost stealth unit here out of aReNGee is the Sanity Scorcher, I don't think that it was correct to take out the shrunk down Veliz there. It should have been the Sanity Scorcher, because you know what you're going to hit.
Yeah. Yep, it's true. Gonna have to do a chump block here, but Moldermucks are pretty good at chump blocking. That chill off of the power off of that Rune of Trickery has been pretty nice. We've seen that come up a few times. But Ron down to 4 health. And only 2 blockers out here. Gonna go up to 5 health off of that painting, but that's not looking pretty for Ron right here. Really on the back foot.
Indeed. So Permafrost, the Motorbuck here. Yeah, Ron is going to be forced to chump block the Sandy Scorcher with the Ambitious Manaphylla and go down to 1. And I'm not quite sure what exactly. Oh, go down to 2, but
I go
trigger
down
the
to 2
tandem
because we
on
want to trigger the
on-
tandem. Prowling Emmerich has the ability when you attack with exactly 2 units, Prowling Emmerich gets +2 permanently. That's a quick draw, and that's going to be enough for Ron. Ron's just going to toss it in there just too fast. We saw that aggro deck before. Saw that